morning, everybody. You may not be watching this in the morning. I'm sure you're sleeping in the morning still. So yesterday, we talked about, yesterday I recorded this. Yesterday, we talked about 1-point perspective. I did the general practice for an outdoor scene with very basic set blocks to continue. You're definitely not going to want to keep it like this and call it finished. That is not done. Much more detail needs to go into this. Creating something from it, whether it's floating buildings, down here, a building that goes into the distance. I created a house, which looks pretty bad, needs some more work, but anyway, this is for practice. And then on the back side, I did an indoor scene. Today, we are going to move on to 2-point perspective. Okay, 2-point perspective is a little more detailed. You're going to start with your horizon line, of course. If you're doing an outdoor piece, this is really important. If your horizon line is in the middle, you're going to get the sky and the ground, the same amount of each. Okay? If your horizon line is up on top, you're going to get mostly all the ground to work with. If your horizon line is way down below, you're going to have a teeny bit of the ground and tons of sky to work with. Okay? So the horizon line works from sky to ground, whichever you want. Today I'm going to work with a horizon line that's up top. And it honestly is okay. It doesn't really matter too much because we're practicing here. I'm not necessarily going to be creating ground items. I may add them in later, but we're just practicing the technique right now. So wherever you want your horizon line is fine. The big issue is the vanishing points. These are crucial. We are doing 2-point perspective, so you have to have 2 points. They don't necessarily have to be at the very edges. They can be one can be at the edge and one in the middle. Wherever you want them, they just have to be on the horizon line. So for simplicity's sake, we're doing at the very edge. Now, we're looking back at 1-point perspective. You have 1 point, you have one big side of your item facing you. This time, you can't start like that. You have to have the edge of the corner of the box or building or whatever you're designing facing you. Okay, so my box is going to be this tall. I'm going to do one down here, and I'll do a really, really tall one up here. Okay? So these points at the top and the bottom get taken to both points. Alright, so again, I'm going to use my letter. You need a straight edge, of course, pencil, eraser, some sort of straight edge. So if you do not have a ruler, then find something, a thick piece of paper. This is just an envelope. Find an old piece of mail. That will work, okay? So anything that you can find that you can use as a straight edge. Alright, let's get started. So for practice, we need to get used to this. So this point gets taken to both vanishing points. So please make sure you line it up. I'm going to disappear that one. It's not going to go all the way because I have other boxes that need to take it as well. So I might as well, not go all the way because then I'll have to do extra erasing. Because I'm going to cut the box off somewhere in the back here later on. Okay, and then this bottom point goes back. Okay. Alright, so we have this. Now we need to cut off our box to go so it doesn't go on forever and ever. So please make sure that, like we did on the 1-point perspective, you mimic the line that you're doing further back. So in this case, it's vertical. So I'm going to choose it to be this long over here, and I'm going to make this one long. So it's going to go all the way here. Okay. Go ahead and erase your extra bits. Hopefully this isn't too boring for y'all. I'm not doing a time lapse right now. Okay, so I almost forgot to explain what I was doing. Alright, so we have the front edges. Since the horizon line is up top, you're looking down at the top of the box. Okay? So we need to create the top of this box. You can't just, oh, just do a line like this and that's done. Nope, wrong. No. It has to go back into space. It can't just be 3D. So this point crosses over, and this point crosses over. Okay? So, since the back of the box is behind, you're going to cross it like that, and find this point and do an exact measurement and go here. Okay? So now we can see the top of the box, and it goes back into space, like we're looking into this piece of paper as if it were coming alive. I recently just saw Velvet Buzzsaw again. If any of you have seen that movie, you totally should. Velvet Buzzsaw, it's not super scary, but it's a good movie, and it makes people die through their paintings. People die, and it's art related, so watch it. It's on Netflix. Okay. Next one. I'm gonna, briefly just kind of talk as I'm doing it. This is exactly the same as the other one. You go back to both vanishing points, okay, on the top and the bottom. Oh no, it's not long enough. Okay, I'm gonna have to guess. Okay, so there's my two sides. I have to make the back, okay? If this is alternatively the bottom horizon line is below, you're drawing the bottom of the boxes. You're like looking at them, and they're floating above you. But anyway, same process. We're still gonna, decide how long our box is. This one is going to be a big one, so I'm going to draw it all the way over here. So you got to cut off your box, keeping it between the two orthogonal lines. There's a vocabulary term for you that I haven't explained before. The lines that go back into space to the vanishing points, all called orthogonals. Most of them get erased, but a lot of them become your actual piece. Okay, so we've got this box done. Erase the extra lines. Okay. Okay, now we have two. You see that? Okay, now that I have two, I'm going to darken up all my lines. So you want to go light until you know it's right, then go darker, or trace with marker. Okay. Please use a ruler for this. I have done this so many times, it's ridiculous. If your lines aren't straight when you draw them, you need to use a ruler, aka a straight edge. Okay, two boxes done. Now for the third box, from here to here. Hopefully I have a long enough piece. So, for the 1 point perspective, we don't go through another line. So if you want your box to go all the way past underneath these guys, don't cross the lines. It's a big no-no. Alright, lining it up. That top point going back to both vanishing points, and the bottom point going back. Okay. so we get to see a lot of the top of this one since it's so far away from the vanishing points from the horizon line. So the lower down it is, the more you get to see. So I'm going to have to do a little bit of erasing. I want this box to go way up under. Okay, so I'm going to have to erase this little portion. That's all right. I need to know where it stops so that I can see it later on. Very important. Okay. Super light. I did draw a line there. You can't see it because of the brightness. But I need to know where to take my lines across, okay, to the other vanishing points. And I'll erase it later. So there's a little bit of space in between here, and we have to use it to create our box so that it's actually realistic. Okay, so from here to there, I'm only going to draw this portion because it's seen in the space. These are solid. They're already there. Okay, and then this little guy comes over here. Teeny tiny. All right. So, do you see that? That's hard to see. Okay. So, the top of this box is so big, it goes underneath these guys, and you only see this and that behind it. Everything else is solid, and these guys are above it. So, erasing all the extra lines. And there we have our 3 boxes in 2-point perspective. I would like to see your guys' photo of your practice for this. So when you get done with your practice, please send it to me. I know it's hard to troubleshoot and help you if you're having troubles because I'm not physically there. Actually, hold on. Let me talk to you face to face. Okay, so the audio may be off, but I know it might be hard to troubleshoot since I'm not with you guys if you have problems. And it's 2-point perspective, so you might have some issues. But please just take it step by step. I will answer any questions. If you want to text me, if you want to shoot a photo of this in progress to me, all my information is, of course, on the Canvas website on that main page. So please shout out to me, text me, email me, send me a photo of if you have any issues. But also please look through this video again, trying to go step by step. So if something goes wrong, just rewatch the video. If you can't figure it out, text away. All right, so back to the tutorial. Okay, so we've got our boxes. They are sitting on the ground. I'm actually going to change my design. Since they're on the ground and they're not floating, they could be floating. If they're floating, this makes more sense because these boxes are closer to us and they're hiding this box that's above. So I like that. But since I was drawing them from the ground, it actually makes more sense that these are behind, because they're closer to the vanishing point, they're behind this one. So I am going to do some erasing and fixing my design because I want it to be correct. I don't want it to be off or weird looking. So these 2 boxes up here, they have to change and go back. So this bottom area is going to be in front. So a little bit of changing. Thank goodness I can still see my eraser lines. And it will transform to the front. So I'm just going back over the ones that I already had. If I didn't have the lines, I would continue teaching point from the thing. Okay? So this one now becomes in front. Sorry that was confusing, or maybe it looked, I don't know, maybe it looked off to you and you just didn't know why. Well, this is why. Because I drew it, there we go, as if it were below these guys. And that makes no sense, because if it's on the ground, you can't go lower than the ground. So these guys are behind, and so now we can maybe, I don't know, make a street. And remember, all these lines have to go from the horizon line, the vanishing points, out. Okay, so now I'm making my streets. This is going to be a little tiny park, because why not? And then the road will come from here, out. It's okay to be sloppy at first. You can always refine your work later. Okay, so tree for my little park, covering up the building. Okay, yeah, so maybe another tree here. And a sculpture. Sure. Okay, so road, 3 buildings in the back. And my start, two outdoors, and I would continue on and on and on and on until it was finished. Okay, but press things first. Okay, so this audio is different, but thank you for following along, and I'll see you in the next video.